Hello, and welcome to my health information channel. I'm Dr. Gauri Bhire. I'm a medical oncologist, which means that I'm the kind of doctor who treats patients with cancer. I'm here to provide some practical, useful, and some interesting information on health and cancer related issues. I found that my patients take a large number of supplements, and I've been doing a series on commonly used supplements. So, do refer back to some topics I've covered earlier and also provide some links here periodically. I'm presenting an overview of the information that I have researched. We've been talking about supplements that people commonly take, and today we're going to talk about the bees. Not those bees which are hard at work outside pollinating our crops and producing honey, but vitamin Bs, which are essential for a lot of our biochemical processes. Unlike other vitamins, the Bs are not one compound but a group of compounds which have their own individual function and their own diseases related to their deficiency. How many B vitamins are there? There used to be more than a dozen, but now we have a little more than half a dozen because a number of the B vitamins were found not to be vitamins, which means that they were not essential for our human life or our human bodies were able to manufacture them. And those two conditions need to be met in order to qualify to be a vitamin. Each of the B vitamins has its own unique biochemical function, and these are vital to carbohydrate metabolism, DNA and RNA repair and manufacture, and provide biochemical energy to the cell. Luckily, they are present in most of the foods that we eat, like eggs, meat, fish, vegetables and fruit, grains, whole grains, legumes, pulses, beans, and they're easily absorbed through the gut. And unless we have severe dietary restrictions or intestinal problems, we will not become deficient. Deficiencies are mainly found in malnourished populations, in famine conditions, or in people with severe dietary restrictions. This group of vitamins are water soluble and are easily excreted in the urine, so it's hard to overdose on them. But there's also not much of a storage system, so we have to continue to eat them in order to not become deficient. And processed foods like white flour or sugar lose a lot of their natural vitamins in the process of manufacture, so then they have to be enriched with external sources of vitamins. Once you cook with these processed foods, though that kind of vitamin enrichment is much more easily lost in the cooking process. So it's best to cook with the primary source like eggs, meat, whole grains, fresh veggies, and eat fruit. While each of these vitamins is plentiful in our diet, the functions are vital, and if for any reason you become deficient, the results can cause some severe illnesses. Some can even cause permanent damage because the deficiencies don't come to light till it's too late. For example, vitamin B1 or thiamine can cause a condition called beriberi in infants, and this can cause seizures, cardiac or neurological damage, which may not be able to be reversed even with injection therapy. And in adults with alcoholism, B1 deficiency can also cause neurological and cardiac damage and a syndrome called Wernicke-Korsakoff disease. Vitamin supplementation is very important in this population to prevent seizures. B2 or riboflavin is a bit milder and causes some mild swelling of the mucous membranes, some cracking of the tongue and the lips. And while this is unpleasant, it can be easily reversed with a supplement. B3, 5, 6, and 7 are all important in the metabolic processes in the cell. I have an interesting anecdote about B3. When I was learning to make corn tortillas at home, I found that you had to use a special corn flour from corn that had been boiled and alkalinized and then ground into the flour, and this process was called nixtamalization. Corn contains vitamin B3, also known as niacin or nicotinamide, and it's widely present in meats, legumes, and grains. But in ancient grains, it was present in a complex that could only be liberated by this boiling and alkalinizing process. Now, how did the ancient Mesoamericans know that you had to do that to corn in order to liberate the niacin that was bound in there? I'm always amazed when I find these facts about ancient cultures. Niacin deficiency causes a condition called pellagra, which is a form of a photodermatitis that is found in sun exposed areas. Pellagra is not seen in Central America or in Mexico, but it is seen in other parts of the world where they eat a corn that is not nixtamalized, for example, the southern United States. Pellagra was common there till the flour started being enriched. The next most important Bs are B9, also known as folic acid, and B12, which is cyanocobalamin. These are important in the manufacture and repair of DNA and growth and replication of cells. This makes them really important in pregnancy for healthy fetal growth. The only one B vitamin that is susceptible to deficiency is B12 or cyanocobalamin. It is not plentiful in the vegetarian diet, so vegetarians have to be particularly careful not to become deficient. And the absorption process also requires a special receptor, which can be a target for some autoimmune conditions, and this can lead to a very specific kind of anemia called pernicious anemia. This condition requires injections of vitamin B12 to bypass the gut malabsorption. Malabsorption can also be a result of stomach surgery, so it is important for those who have had bypass surgery for weight reduction to keep up with their vitamin supplements for life. Severe vitamin B12 deficiency can also cause neurological conditions which result in gait problems or loss of vibratory sense, and an anemia which is manifested with large red blood cells called macrocytic anemia. But even subtle vitamin B12 deficiency without anemia can cause dementia, some mild cognitive dysfunction, or deteriorating balance in older adults. A word of caution: folic acid deficiency can also cause macrocytic anemia. So, if you find macrocytic anemia and only replace folic acid, this can disguise a B12 deficiency, and folic acid will correct the macrocytic anemia but not the impending neurological problems. So, it is important to look for both. Here's another anecdote. Around the world, till a few decades ago, patients would go to their GP when they were feeling a little rundown and get an injection for strength. I saw this when I grew up in India. The injection was very likely a concoction of vitamin B, and it was unclear that it was medically necessary, but the patients felt good. We used to think that this was taking advantage of the patients, but the placebo effect is powerful, and perhaps there was some low grade dietary deficiency that this was correcting. Now, interestingly, this practice has come down into the modern era where people have become enamored with vitamin fortified energy drinks. Again, unless there's a medical reason for deficiency, there is no benefit to vitamin B fortified energy drinks. The missing B numbers are 4, 8, 10, and 11, and these are the ones which turned out to not be vitamins, so we have dropped them out of this armamentarium of B vitamins. So, who benefits from vitamin B supplements? Pregnant women should be taking folic acid and B12 as the fetal demands have increased their requirements. Patients with blood disease, which have a high turnover of cells and need to keep manufacturing more cells, require extra vitamin B. Patients who have had a number of stomach ailments or gastric bypass surgery or have other dietary restrictions or malnutrition will require vitamin B supplements. And then, not the least, patients with alcoholism require vitamin B supplements to compensate for decreased absorption. Other than that, unless there's a medical cause, our diets provide an ample amount of this collection of vitamins collectively known as vitamin B. I hope you found this information useful. Be in good health. Thank you for tuning in and do subscribe for more interesting information coming your way.